easiest topic thinking. So today's video is going to be a very straightforward video, and honestly, you just gotta practice a little bit, understand that concept. The moment you do that, you will for solving this type of questions on a exam. Okay. So today's video we're going to be speaking about. Today's video we're going to be breaking down into 4 different parts. So the first one is going to be what is the main conclusion, where we're going to basically explain what do we mean by main conclusion. Now the second thing is steps to find a main conclusion. Three signal words that you can use to basically guide you. Or if we will be solving some questions with you guys. So what is the main conclusion? Okay, so the most relevant or important opinion in the text. Okay. Now you should always ask yourself, what is the opinion of the author, or what is he or she trying to take home from this passage? Okay. What is his main point? Or the conclusion will always be guided or point of the whole article. In essence, where everything else will be kind of like the backstory, and then the conclusion will be right, the main point. Okay, so let's actually move on to the question. Second, you can look for trigger words in the passage and identify possible conclusions. Okay, so whenever you look for the trigger words, or where we're going to be going through them in a second, with the conclusion of the signal words to guide you with the author's conclusion, but sometimes it may not be clearly shown, so you will have to use some common sense. Okay, so if you find any of these keywords, be on the lookout, because they might actually try to lead you to the conclusion. Let me explain. Right, for example, here could be Jason walked into the bar, therefore conclusion, which is he lost calories. Right, now the Jason walked into the bar is not really the conclusion, is it? But it's again the backstory where it leads to the therefore conclusion, which is he lost calories. Okay, so again, similar here, we have those, hence, in essence, they basically mean the same thing. Okay, so be on the lookout for these words. So again, let's solve this type of questions. So I'm going to be solving the first one with you guys. We're going to have 3 very easy questions. Then we're going to have 2 from the one from the essay and the other for the iPad. So they're going to
Many people think that drinking coffee and drinking at night. However, it's mentioned that this is not correct. Drink coffee before bed still feels good if you take a cup of coffee very simple. Is completely responsible for feeling good. Coffee always really good at night. Everyone should avoid any particular type of coffee flavors.
solve this on your own.
However, it is also beneficial for mental health. Studies show that people who are physically experiences lower level of stress and anxiety compared to those who do not exercise.
However, or he's at least trying to change the focus. So exercise has benefit. It's really questionable for keywords.
Eating a balanced diet is crucial for maintaining good health. While some people believe that taking vitamins, supplements in place of healthy diet, experts argue that it is better to get nutrition from food. A well-rounded diet provides not just vitamins but also fiber, antioxidants, and other energy compounds that supplements cannot really replace. And is balanced we have two standard forms of treatment for depression: antidepressant medicine and psychological therapy. Hमारे पास दो टाइप है, antidepressant medication और psychological therapy. In overlap because these treatments have not reduced either the prevalence of or the disability caused by depression. It is likely to remain a significant and largely intractable mental health problem. There are three key issues here: access, compliance, and relapse. Access to treatment tends to be restricted to the minority of access to the treatment tends to be restricted to minority who live in abundance of country, urban areas, wealthy countries. But even those who have access to care do not always comply with treatment recommendation for many understandable reasons. To compound all these, high number of people respond well to treatment later relapse. Compound all this, high number of people who respond well to the treatment later relapse is one of the reasons why depression remains so widespread.
Stages is building a foundation. One is antidepressant medication and psychological therapy. Over the last 30 years, these treatments have not reduced either the prevalence of or the disability caused by depression. It is likely to remain a significant and largely intractable mental health problem. There are three key issues: access, compliance, and relapse. Access to treatment tends to be restricted to the minority of people who live in urban areas of wealthy countries. But even those who have access to care do not always comply with the treatment recommendations for many understandable reasons. To compound, that's all you have to know. To compound, or in other words, is basically saying, in conclusion, or in summary, all this high numbers of to compound all this, high numbers of people who respond well to treatment, they basically it is one or now which one of them?
Throughout the history, gold has been revered and used for expensive jewelry and ornamentation. But in the future, it will be prized for its practical uses rather than for its aesthetical appeal. It was not until only in the last century that gold selected its electrical properties were discovered. Solid-state electronic devices uses very low voltages and current, which are easily interrupted by corrosion at the contact point. Gold is such an efficient conductor that it can carry these tiny currents and remain free of corrosion, making the device highly reliable. A small amount of gold is used in almost every modern electronic device, and it is predicted that within 10 years, more gold will be used in the production of electronics than in the jewelry.
call best expressed conclusion of type of argument for basic. Now again, now let's look for the almost everyone. Like if you want to practice, use search DSA papers, and you can find a bunch of practice for this type of question. Okay, thank you very much. Hope you like the lesson.
Maybelline, New York. New Shine Stop.
The year 2021. Preference for Moji meat. 20%. Dear future doctors, today you are second part of the discussed up, or you can write in the answer within the question itself. So in this case, the passage argued that more and more young people report anxieties out for a walk, right? And they say the suggestion is supported by a recent scientific study. Okay, now let's go through all the answers one by one. So A, it ignores the fact that not everyone with low self-esteem has the desire to go for a run or a walk outside. So here, like, not everyone with low esteem has the desire. Sometimes some people might have the desire who has low self-esteem, right? And it ignores the fact that not everyone with low self-esteem has the desire to go for a run or a walk outside. Technically, this cannot be the flow of the argument, because the argument says that people with low self-esteem do not go outside completely. Therefore, A is completely removed. It's out of the context. B, it assumes that high levels of self-confidence or self-esteem are all that are needed for a person to enjoy good mental health. Yes. So this can be given as a flow of argument, but we'll wait and find out why it is not. See, it ignores